As you might know, we use stock-to-flow ratio to measure how high or low the inflation of an asset is. You simply divide the existing supply to the annual added new supply. Gold has the stock-to-flow ratio 1 to 60. That equals 0.016% annually. But did you know, Bitcoin will soon outperform the scarcity of gold? But how scarce will Bitcoin really become the following years? Let's crack some fun numbers. In 2012, the stock-to-flow ratio of Bitcoin was 1 to 8. An inflation rate of 0.125% this year. 4 years later, after the 2016 halving, the ratio was 1 to 24. That equals an inflation of 0.041%. After the next halving in 2020, the stock-to-flow ratio will adjust to 1 to 56. That's almost the same scarcity of gold. But what happens next is a world history-changing event. In 2024, the ratio is 1 to 120. Bitcoin is now the most scarce asset mankind have ever seen. From this point, the numbers are getting pretty crazy. 4 years later, in 2028, there will only be mined 82,031 new bitcoins. The inflation rate is now 0.004%. In 2032, the ratio is 1 to 504. And in 2036, the inflation rate will be 0.0009%. This is almost 17 times as rare as gold. And we're just a few years into the future. Let's fast forward a bit. 2060. This is only 40 years into the future. There will only be mined 320 Bitcoin this year. That's about one single Bitcoin every day. The stock-to-flow ratio will now be 1 to 65,616. Bitcoin is now 1,000 times as scarce as gold. Let's jump some years forward. 2076. Only 20 new Bitcoins will be mined this year. The stock-to-flow ratio will now be larger than 1 to a million. That's just insane. But do you know what's more insane? 1 to 2 million. Okay, let's fast forward some more. Year 2100. This year there will be mined less than a third of a Bitcoin. The stock-to-flow ratio is now 1 to 67 million. Bitcoin is now 1 million times as scarce as gold. Let's skip 16 more years. In 2116, it will only be mined 0.0189 Bitcoin. That's $154 a Bitcoin in today's term. The stock-to-flow ratio is now larger than 1 to 1 billion. The inflation rate is almost zero. Is it possible to go lower now? Yes. In 2120, the ratio is 1 to 2.49 billion. And the inflation rate is 0.0000004%. Let's fast forward one last time. 2136. The stock-to-flow ratio is now 1 to 39.99 billion. And now, 2140. There is no more Bitcoins to mine. The stock-to-flow ratio is no longer needed for this asset. The inflation is non-existing. Relax and hodl.